The Vatican has attacked the media over its reporting of the latest allegations of sexual abuse by paedophile priests in the Catholic Church. It was referring to allegations that the Pope, when he was a cardinal, failed to act when a priest was accused of molesting 200 pupils at a school for the deaf in the United States. A similar case is now resurfacing in Italy, where 67 former pupils of a school in Verona have made claims of sexual abuse by 24 priests. This from our religious affairs correspondent, Robert Piggott.
At a rally for young Roman Catholics in St. Peter's Square last night, the Pope had a warm reception. But elsewhere, the leader of the world's largest church is under increasingly personal attack. A few hours earlier, victims of sexual abuse by Catholic priests were in Rome to protest at what they claimed was the Pope's record in keeping abuse secret. The case of Father Lawrence Murphy, who abused 200 deaf boys in the American city of Milwaukee, has raised fresh questions about how the Vatican dealt with the scandal. Letters and notes connected with the Murphy case show that 2 archbishops wrote to the Vatican department run by the then Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, asking for the abusing priest to be subjected to a church trial, but they were turned down. Father Murphy's victims, including Arthur Budzinski, abused at the school for deaf boys, claimed the Pope knew about his case but wanted it kept quiet. Such claims have led to a furious response from the Vatican. Its newspaper denounced what it said was a clear and despicable attempt to damage the Pope personally.
Hello, everybody.
Now the leader of the Roman Catholic Church in England and Wales has come to Pope Benedict's defence. Archbishop Vincent Nichols said that while a Vatican official, the Pope had strengthened church law to outlaw abuse of teenagers, to prevent cases being dropped because of the passage of time, and to introduce a fast track for expelling abusers from the clergy. Robert Piggott, BBC News, Milwaukee.
OK, let's take you to the heart of that story. Duncan Kennedy is our correspondent in Rome. So, Duncan, we're talking about 2 letters here sent to Cardinal Ratzinger, to which he never replied. Is the Vatican expecting the world to believe that he didn't read those letters or he didn't know what was in them?
It's a good question. We simply don't know. In their official statement, which came out yesterday, they made no reference of Pope Benedict at all. So we don't know whether he saw the letters. If he saw the letters, he didn't act on them. Or if he did act on them, did he ask his advisors to do something with them? It's exactly what the victims of sex abuse who've been visiting here in Rome have been saying. We want to get to the bottom of this. We want to know what Pope Benedict knew and when he knew it. So it's crucially important about whether Pope Benedict, or then as he was Cardinal Ratzinger, actually saw these letters from the Archbishop of Milwaukee, whether he saw the letter from Father Murphy that he wrote himself or not. And I think we are unclear at this stage, certainly from the official statements from the Vatican, about what exactly Pope Benedict knew and didn't know.
And what's the Italian media saying about this, Duncan?
Well, it's dominating here, front page news. Obviously, this story now going to the Vatican itself, to the very top, allegedly involving the Pope himself. If I can just show you some of the papers here, Peter. We've got La Repubblica. Again, you might not be able to see the exact wording, but it talks about paedophiles and the United States and the Pope reporting on the New York Times article. That's La Repubblica. Here in Corriere della Sera, the same thing. Again, you might not be able to see the headline, but it talks about silence on abuse involving the Pope. And thirdly, we've got the Vatican's own newspaper. This is L'Osservatore Romano. Again, front page news here. You might not be able to see the headline. The headline reads, Nessun insabbiamento, which means really nothing hidden. And the whole front page editorial talks about how the Pope has done nothing wrong. Very much reporting on what has happened in the United States, but again divided between those who are saying the Pope has got these questions to answer and those who are saying he's done nothing wrong. There has been no cover-up, and this is really an attack by the media, a slur on the Pope by the media. A conspiracy is what some cardinals are calling it.
Duncan Kennedy in Rome. Duncan, many thanks. Back to our top story, the Vatican attacking the media for its reporting of the latest allegations of sexual abuse by paedophile priests in the Catholic Church. The Vatican is angry about allegations that the Pope, when he was a cardinal in Germany, failed to do anything about a priest accused of molesting 200 pupils at a school for the deaf in the United States. I asked our Vatican correspondent David Willey about those accusations.
The buck stops with him, and of course the fact is that not only as Pope, for the past 5 years, but in his previous job as head of the Vatican's Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, he is one of the best informed persons in the world about these cases of sexual abuse alleged cases of sexual abuse by paedophile priests. He's been looking at the dossiers of thousands of these cases for 25 years now, so there's no possible excuse that he didn't know about them. Individually, if he wanted to call for papers, he could see the dossier regarding any priest in the world. The charge really against the Pope is that he knew and he encouraged this policy of silence which has surrounded priestly abuse of children for many decades, not only in Ireland but in other countries as well. For example, in Italy, we're getting increasing number of reports just within the past few days of similar cases there, and the Church has hushed these up.
The Vatican is obviously feeling very, very got at about this now. Does there come a point, if the momentum keeps on building, when the Vatican has got to produce the paperwork?
There is no law. The Pope is a monarch. He can do what he likes. He's not bound to do anything. But of course, one or two people have been asking me recently, could the Pope resign if the pressure gets too great? He's a man of 82. He may feel at some moment he wants to step down. Technically, he can do under canon law. There is a provision for that. I think it's very unlikely. But if the pressure continues to grow, clearly within the Church and outside the Church, it's going to be increasingly difficult for the world's oldest international organisation to maintain it.
David Willey, Vatican correspondent, Adnan Nawaz joins us with the sports news and